Hello, welcome back to the Scale Modelling Cafe. Welcome to this week's update. Right, what's been going on the channel then is the last part of the laminar flow design. Spitfires went up. That was last Sunday. That was the painting and weathering. I took you through painting all the markings and using Tamiya paints and some new weathering techniques for me. And that is a bit of fading with some acrylic colours, so using the atom paints just mixed with water and, well, I say water, about 30% of the thinner, 2/3 water. The thinner just helps obviously to thin the paint and blend the paint, but also reduces the surface tension of the water, helps reduce tide marks, things like that. That worked quite well. I was pleased with that. But yeah, so that is the end of the series and thoroughly enjoyed it. Both models are packed up, ready to go back to the UK, fly out Thursday week, but it's the early hours, effectively Wednesday night. So not a lot of bench time left, and I'm desperately trying to finish a certain P39. But before we get on to that, the Edward Mustang. So that is a one-part. It's a new format of video where I've done in the past debrief videos. So at the end of a project, I've just talked through the sort of good bits, bad bits, what I liked, what went wrong, that kind of thing, and how it all finished and some of my techniques. What I've done though with the Mustang, the Edward Mustang, is I've split it into chapters. So there's one on the cockpit. Well, there's an introduction first, then there's one on the cockpit, there's one on the construction, and then there's one on the painting and weathering, including the acrylic metallic dry brush, which I use on that project. And that is a single standalone video, and I'm probably going to leave that and put that out in a few weeks. Because if I put it out straight away, then there's going to be no modelling content for a little while. So I'll probably delay that a few weeks and stick that out in maybe a sort of 2 or 3 weeks time, and then that will tide you over until Arma April starts. So the Edward kit, beautiful kit, but there's 2 in the box, and the other one I was going to do is an F51 Mustang. Only the project ground to a halt, and it ground to a halt because I realised that in the Royal class of the Mustang, Edward provide 2 different fuselages. One with a filleted tail, which I used on the other model, and this is the non-filleted tail. Bummer. So I can't do it as a Korean War machine. There were, I think it's 3 non-filleted bubble top Mustangs, 3 options in the box, and none of them really appealed. They're all a little bit bland, I thought. So what I've done is I've ordered a set of decals. I can't even remember what they were now, but whichever one it is, it's got it's natural metal, but it's got the olive drab on the upper surfaces. And I really quite fancy doing something like that. So I've ordered that decal sheet. So this model will be finished off in May, because obviously April is going to be Arma April. Talking of which, I have a 1/72 scale P39 here, which is ready for paint. This has gone together really quickly. I'm really pleased with how this has come together. Now, the cheating, that's a strong word, isn't it? But I'd already riveted the airframe, and sometimes I do that where I just decide that actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a whole load of riveting, get well ahead of the game, and then when I put it off the shelf, the boring bit is done and I can crack straight on. So yeah, it's gone together really quickly, and I'm really pleased, and I really can't wait to start painting this. What I am going to have to remember to do though is paint the cockpit first. So right behind me, right next to where the model is going to sit and right next to the airbrush, is the interior green. Now I've made a bit of a boo-boo and I've used the wrong interior green. When I looked at the instructions, I assumed it was just normal like the zinc chromate green, interior green, but it's not. It's a colour called bell green, which is a little bit like the, I suppose it's like the interior colour of the P47. It's that real bluey type green. And I've gone, oh bugger, I've already painted it all. So yeah, incorrect interior green. However, the undercarriage and the interior of the doors and everything is going to be in the correct green. So it's going to look a bit weird with mismatched green, but hey ho. But at least it's up here for the 48 scale one, which is sat just up there, which I really want to do at some point as well. The instrument panel, I found the instructions a little bit vague and the parts a little bit vague of how they actually fit together. I was going to use, I bought the Edward Space set for this, but actually I'm a massive fan of the Arma Hobby instrument panel decals. I think they're superb. They're absolutely brilliant. So I thought, well, I'll give them a go, and they're absolutely brilliant. So I'm really pleased with that. The bottom panel had some, really big relief detail, and I was worried that the decal was not going to conform over them at all. So I did sand that off, and I used the 3D decal from the Space set on the lower instrument panel. The gun sight, I didn't read the instructions properly. I've used the wrong gun sight. There was one on the clear sprue. I assumed that was it. It's not. So I've used that one, and it looked like it was sitting really high, which was a bit weird, like literally right up to the top of the canopy. And the main gun sight bit would be blocking the view. So I've actually stuck it on the instrument panel itself, but it's 72nd scale, and you're not really going to see much in there. I'm going to have the right hand door open on this one. The left hand door has been glued shut. Fits beautifully. It's a little bit bland on the inside of the doors, so I've added the door handles just to dress things up a bit. And yeah, it's just clicked together so far. Absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased with it. I used black super glue for the main fuselage seams. I used normal ammo glue for the wings. And yeah, I thought that this one may have the guns in the wings. So I didn't fill them in accordance with the instructions, and then I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to fill them in. So I did do that. Little bit of stretch sprue, stuck in the front, bit of super glue, cut it down, sand it, flush, job's a fish. The separate nose panel on the top, that fit really well. I was really pleased with how that went in. And yeah, all masked, ready for paint, which will be tomorrow. Oh yeah, one thing I ought to mention. The tail surfaces have got these kind of raised ribs, but very thin lines, thin raised lines to represent the fabric, and I didn't quite like that. I've watched, is it Plasmo's video? I think it's Plasmo's video, might be Skeletons. And he just sanded his down, but what I did is I put a real thick coat of black Mr. Surfacer, and then I've sanded it, and that has worked really well. So if you've got the Azure from Battle, and I understand that the ailerons, the sort of fabric sag is too pronounced, you can do that. Just put some Mr. Surfacer over the top, as many coats as you need or want, and then just sand it down, and that should improve it a lot. And there we go. And now this little thing is ready for paint. So this is only a couple of days work. It really is. And she's all going to be painted up tomorrow. Now, the markings, this is going to be a Soviet machine. I'm going to use decals for their national markings. I know, controversial, eh? I'm not going to be painting them. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the stars were sort of the red star and then a thin white border and then an even thinner red border around that. And that is going to be nigh on impossible to paint in this scale. So I'm going to use decals, and I've got some Tetwad decals. I'm going to use those. That's it. Oh, I am going to spray some markings. I should have mentioned, actually. Nearly forgot. So friend of the channel, Nige, before I got my cutter machine, my Silhouette, he actually did the this is going to have the sort of acrylic writing, bugger off Germans or something, down the side, and the number as well, the bought number on the nose. So I'm going to paint those, but the stars are going to be decals. Yeah, there we are. That is the Arma Hobby P39. So this I'm doing as a full video series. It's going to be probably 2-parter, maybe 3-parter, depends. Probably 2 though, we'll have to see. And this is going to be part of Arma April, so you won't see this until April. Lots coming in April. That's that. Right. On with the news then, and there's no new announcements at all, really. Just 1 or 2 things to mention. One is that Airfix are having a spring clear out. They've got some up to 50% off some kits, some amazing bargains going on. Buccaneers for I think 45 quid, maybe 50, just under 50 quid for a Buccaneer, so that's like 30% off. And there's lots and lots there, so pop over to the Airfix website. Jadlam, I think, are selling the same kits at the same price. So if you want to go to Jadlam and get some Jadlam points, if you know, pop over and do that. But yeah, some great bargains to be had. I'm actually quite tempted by a Vampire because I want to do a Swiss conversion. I've actually got the conversion set, but I don't have the kit, so I might be tempted to do that myself. Right, that is that, and I think that was all there was to mention. Really, no new kits at all. Clearprop have put the box art out for their F86 and 72nd scale. They've just released the green DH88 Comet. That's just come out, but no new announcements. The other one I did want to mention though is the Hong Kong Models DB7 or Boston is looks like that is imminent. And the one in 48 scale, and I'm really excited about that. And I think this year's the year of the twins, because we've got the Special Hobby Baltimore coming out at the end of the year, and there's also the ICM Hampden, of course. And I want to get all 3 of those. And it's just something about the Boston. I read a book years ago by a bloke called John Bede. He was a air gunner in the war. It's actually a novel, but it reads like an autobiography of his experiences of the war, and his character, which is himself, it's all a bit odd, started out on Wellingtons and then ended up on did Venturas, Bostons, and ended up on Mitchells. So ever since then I thought, well, yeah, I like a Boston. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm really tempted by that. That should come fully riveted as well, which is a bonus. I'm sure the Special Hobby Baltimore won't be riveted, and I'm pretty much guarantee that the ICM Hampden won't be riveted. So I'll have a big riveting job for those coming at some point. But I'm also this year doing a 72nd Lancaster. I really want to do that. That's also going to be fully riveted. So my Galaxy Riveter is going to have a right old workout this year. But there we are. Right, come to the end of this week's update. I'll do one more before I go back. That'll have the hopefully finished P39 in it. I'll give you a couple of teaser shots for that. And then the next video is going to be unboxing videos, and there's going to be 2 because apparently I've got a mountain of stuff to go through, and really excited to do the unboxings. Not the most popular videos, but the people who like them really like them, so I'm going to do a couple of those. And there we are, and then we're into April and Arma April. So thanks very much for watching, sticking with me. Thanks to all the new subscribers. We're almost at 7,000 now. Really close. So if you're thinking about it, go on. Just click the subscribe button and tip me over 7,000, and that'd be really exciting and really cool. Like, subscribe, blah 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 blah, YouTube, blah. Okay, I'll leave it there. I'll go and edit this now and stick it up straight away, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers, bye bye.